Free response F02-01. A skier of mass m is skiing down a frictionless hill that makes an angle theta with the horizontal as shown in the diagram. The skier then starts from rest at t equals 0 and is subject to a velocity-dependent drag force due to air resistance of the form F equals minus bv, where v is the velocity of the skier and b is a positive constant. Express all algebraic answers in terms of m, b, theta, and fundamental constants, meaning things that the experimenter could not reasonably change. In this case, they probably mean lowercase g. All right, and then it says part A. On the dot below that represents the skier, draw a free body diagram indicating and labeling all of the forces that act on the skier while the skier descends the hill. And the AP people have, in recent years, apparently shifted to the idea that free body diagram should have all the forces starting on the body and then pointing away from the same dot. So, what are our forces? As usual, we put in our non-contact forces. That would be gravity pulling downward. And then anything in contact, well, the skier is in contact with the ground, which gives us a normal pointing perpendicular to the slope, and in this case pointing outward. I don't really love that notation, but they seem to want that for the last few years, so we'll go with it. And then finally, also in contact with the skier is the air, which exerts a drag force back this way, which I'm going to call F sub d, and I'm going to call that F sub d as well. And we know that that's going to be b times v. And notice here it's going to be a magnitude of b times v, the minus sign having been used to indicate direction. There's nothing else in contact with the skier, they're not being towed or anything, so that would be it for part A. Part B. Write a differential equation that can be used to solve for the velocity of the skier as a function of time. So we want to go back and start saying, well, what can we say? Well, we have the Newtonian, we have a Newtonian system here. We might as well take x along the incline and y perpendicular to the incline, and then we can say, well, the net force in the x direction, well, that's going to be, that's going to be fgx minus fd, and the net force in the y direction is going to be fn minus fgy. Now we can go a little further and say that fgx is clearly going to be m times g times the sine of the angle. And as I said before, fd is going to be bv. And since we're looking for this velocity, that equation is probably the one we're going to use. So let's move up a little bit and go and start saying that m times a in the x direction, because that's what the net force is mg sine theta minus bv. But of course, a is just dv dt. So we get m times dv dt is mg sine theta minus bv, and that is a differential equation for the velocity. Right? It's a differential equation because it involves, of course, a differential of the velocity. So that is part B. Part C says, determine an expression for the terminal velocity of the skier. So the terminal velocity is the one where the acceleration is 0. V equals Vt when A equals 0. So let's just do that. M times 0 is mg sine theta minus bvt. But of course, m times 0 is just 0. So we can say that bvt is mg sine theta, or vt is mg over b sine of theta. Does that make sense? Well, let's see. When theta is 0, we would get sine of 0 is 0, and we get that the terminal velocity is 0, which makes sense because it's kind of just hanging out there. And if theta were 90, then it's just falling straight down, and that looks like a reasonable terminal velocity in that case. Part D then says, solve the differential equation from Part B to determine the velocity of the skier as a function of time, showing all your steps. And what counts as all your steps is sort of a mug's game of, but we'll show most of them. As a reminder here, we have m dv dt is mg sine theta minus bv. And what we're going to do is separation of variables. So we're going to bring, let's leave it as, we're going to bring dt to the other side, so we'll have m dv, and over here we'll have a dt, and then we'll bring down everything that involves bv. So mg sine theta minus bv. And that doesn't look particularly useful, but we'll do a u substitution, and we'll say let u be mg sine theta minus bv, so that du is minus b dv, or dv is du over minus b. Also, when v equals 0, then u equals mg sine theta, right? And that will be our initial condition. So we go back over this and we say, well, m times minus du over b over u equals dt. And I'll probably play around with that a little bit. So we'll bring, let's say we've got minus m over b, du over u is dt. That's a suspicious sounding thing because, hey, that du over u is a very familiar thing we come up with, right? So then we say maybe du over u is minus b dt over m. How do we solve that? Well, as usual, we would take an integral of both sides, and we would get something like the natural log of u is minus b over m t, and then plus a constant, right, plus c. But I'm going to do a little trick, and I'm going to say not plus c, but plus the log of c. I'm going to do that because I know what's coming. I'm going to do an exponentiation, and it will prove way convenient to have the natural log c there instead. And then we go on forward. So let's exponentiate both sides. So e to the natural log u over here is e to this entire thing. But then we remember that e to a sum is just e to the product, so e to the minus b over mt times e to the natural log c. Then we make peace with our algebra teachers, and we recall that e to the log u is just going to be u. I have e to the minus k over, b over mt times c. So we get that u equals c e to the minus b over mt. If you're playing the home game and been following along about RC circuits, this is a suspiciously familiar thing that shows up because it's basically the same circuit. All right, so when t equals 0, that implies v equals 0, which implies u equals mg sine theta. We had that earlier. So we can go over here and say mg sine theta is the constant we're looking for, e to the minus b over m 0. But then that means that we have the constant that we're looking for, e to the 0, but e to the 0 is 1, so this is just the constant we're looking for. So we find out that our desired constant is mg sine theta. So we can now substitute back into here, and we can say, well, remember, I want to point out, this was the case only when t was 0. Now we're back into the general case, and we can say that u at all times is mg sine theta times our little lovely exponential. Notice the parentheses are technically required, so we don't have theta times e to the stuff as our argument, and that is sufficiently annoying that almost certainly most people would write this as mg e to the minus b over m times t times the sine of theta, and that's up to you whether you do that or not. The important thing is that before we celebrate too much, we aren't actually done, because we were not looking for u, we're looking for v. So we have to go in here and say, well, u was mg sine theta minus bv, and that has to equal mg sine theta times our exponential factor. Now it's not so bad. We just solve for v. So maybe we bring bv the other side, bring the mg the first side, we end up with something like bv is mg sine theta minus mg sine theta times that exponential. And so therefore v would have to be mg over b times sine theta times 1 minus the exponential e to the minus b over m times t. Does that work? Well, when t equals 0, let's go down here and say t equals 0, then e to the minus b over m times t is 1, and then that says that v equals mg over b sine theta 1 minus 1, or 0, so that's good. And then when t is long, essentially infinite, then e to the minus b over m times that is essentially 0, and v becomes mg over b, which we already learned was the terminal velocity, so that all works out. That seems to be right, and therefore this is our solution. All right, and then part E. On the axes below, sketch a graph of the acceleration a of the skier as a function of time t, and indicate the initial value of a, taking downhill as positive. They don't give us a scale or anything. They don't say to find the derivative. Formally, they say to sketch it. So we know that what's going to happen is it's going to start at some value, and then it's going to asymptotically go down until eventually we reach terminal speed, and it had, well, that was a terrible thing, but it's going to terminate, and we're going to do something, well, that's also awful. My pen is not great, but some sort of exponential decay. And I might even label that so that the grader knew that that's what I meant. Our question, of course, is what is this value? But that's okay, because we know that we want, at the start, we have that ma is, we had before, mg sine theta minus bv. When v equals 0, we have that ma equals mg sine theta, or a is just g sine theta. So over here we would say the initial one is g sine theta, and that's good because at that moment it's, free fall is the wrong thing, but it's just sliding along an incline, and we're used to the idea that the x component of something which is just sliding on an incline is g sine theta. So this is well believable. Now, it's possible that the ghost of your calculus teacher is whispering in your ear that that was a little fast and loose. And for the roughly 3 points the section's worth, that's good. And notice you could get that without actually solving for v. It's okay to just say, I know what the behavior is going to be. But if you want to pacify that voice in your head, let's go back to mg over b sine of theta times 1 minus the exponential e to the minus bt. And then we could say, well, let's just say that a is dv dt. So we look here and we have the whole first thing is just a constant. So we get that. Now we have the derivative of this thing, but it's going to be, the derivative of 1 is 0, minus, and the derivative of an exponential is the exponential. times the derivative of the exponential. So minus b over m, blah, like that. So we get, when we combine all those, mg over b sine of theta. And here we have minus and minus, so don't worry about that. And we get b over m e to the minus b over mt. And then, bizarrely but not surprisingly, the m's cancel, the b's cancel, and we get g sine theta e to the minus b over mt. And notice that when t equals 0, e to the minus b over m becomes 1. So we have that a becomes just g sine theta as predicted. And that really is it.